Should it be the 1965 GTO? Nah, too easy, and it's going to take a whole lot of work to make it legal. How about the 70 Cuda? It'll pass tech, but obvious problems, it's a little slow. Then I got the 68, well, what's left of a Firebird. And this is going to be one of those epic projects. And, you know, it's going to take a little bit of money and time. 32 Pontiac two-door? Well, it's going to take even more money than the Firebird and more time. The Mustang? Could do it, but I'm not really enthused about racing a Mustang. Then I got the old Cougar. I've had this car a long damn time. It's been a long time since I drove it. Took me 20 years to move. Life happens. It's got a few issues right now. I got to repaint it, finish the suspension, put the interior in it, get the engine running. It's got a 2-barrel Cleveland right now. Don't have all the parts it needs either, so it's going to take a bit of money. Yeah, it had to sit outside. Don't get married, because then you get divorced. You can take the Formula. It's the closest to being legal, but it's nowhere near legal for what it runs. And it's got a little bit of a traction problem at half throttle. Could race the 70 goat. Electrical system shot, needs a suspension rebuilt. I pulled the engine out and put it in the 65 goat, so it's sitting there without an engine. It also weighs 4,000 pounds. Then I got the Ventura, which is honestly the one of two I'm trying to decide on. This thing is rough. I'm not going to touch the body, ever. I'm going to leave it looking just like this. I'll put an interior in it a little bit. Maybe recover the bench seat, leave the column shifter, stick an engine in it, transmission, rebuild the suspension, and make it a driver. But could do this. It'd be a fun project. The 68 is the closest one I have to being able to go race. Pretty sure it's going to need a cage. Needs a few other things too. I got to fix the brakes on it. The push rod for the pedal doesn't want to engage the master cylinder so well. Need to get the front end back on it. I got to wire the damn thing. It runs and drives though, so there's that. Needs a little bit of fuel system work. Don't worry, it's just a little 301. You don't have to worry about that. I'm heavily leaning towards the 68. It's further along than the Ventura, you know, and I don't have much in it either. Pulled it out of a pasture back in 2014 and got to work on it in my dad's shop. Pulled the front end apart, and, rebuilt the front suspension. I didn't clean anything, I just redid it. Stuck new bushings in and put it back together. And then I sanded it all down, put some cheap primer and Orscheln's $30 a gallon paint on it, tractor enamel. And it come out looking like a beater, just what I wanted. That's a screen door off the family farm that I made the radiator support out of. Made a fiberglass hood for it. Made a fiberglass bumper. And I made them look intentionally bad. Nobody takes you seriously if you have a crappy looking hood and front bumper. About 20 years ago, I traded a set of Chevelle seats for this Ventura sitting at a junkyard. It's just like you see it here, except I stuck that engine in it to move the engine up here. It was originally a 6-cylinder car, manual, everything except automatic trans. Has an 8.5 rear end under the back end, so I can swap gears in it pretty easy. Kind of the reason why I'm thinking, maybe I should build this one, but maybe not. If I do it, it'll get a low buck 400 just ring and bearing job. Set of heads that I have sitting around, I'll have maybe 200 bucks, or well, the heads are 200, so I have like $300-400 in the entire engine. And I'll just see how well it runs like that. Stick some 342 gears out of one of the trucks that I have sitting around because they got 8.5, 10 bolts under them, and just beat the living snot out of this poor thing. I don't really have a whole lot of video of it, and the only pictures I have you actually seen here. It's buried under snow right now, so I'm not really going to be digging it out, just to, take some pictures for you. You can kind of see what I got going on here. The guys I got it from are going to turn it into a round circle track car, and it just sat there for years, and then I finally stopped by and said, hey, what do you want for that? And he said, well, you got some Chevelle bucket seats? I said, yeah, actually I do. It's kind of fortuitous. So here it is, basically ready to be turned into a race car anyway. I have a choice of several engines I can throw in it: 400s, 461s, stroked 400s, 455s, name it, all kinds of things. Even some LS, but I ain't going to do that. All kinds of crazy stuff around here. Not this one, though. This one isn't mine. You might recognize it. I took this picture at SEMA in 2016. That engine is freaking huge. Thing's as big as your head. I am not kidding. Speaking of SEMA, the craziest thing I saw there was this. Like a 78 LTD2 done up as a lowrider. This thing had a perfect paint job on it. And I'm like, who would do that to one of those? I mean, really. I met John Kosmowski from House of Color at SEMA that year. He's a really cool dude. This car was sitting in their booth. That thing had me just like staring in awe and drooling. Man, I was sporting a full chub at that thing. Just incredible. Amazing. Then I walked by the C10 at another booth, and checking that out, I was like, wow, maybe one of my vehicles will actually make it to SEMA someday. This had a paint job I could have done on it. Not terrible, but jeez. Figure I'd throw a little something in here for you Mopar guys to drool over. There was some really cool Dodges and Chryslers here at the show. Man, that was like a once-in-a-lifetime deal for me getting into SEMA like that. This thing was like almost all carbon fiber. Just utterly amusing. Just nuts. Crazy. Then there was like funny cars and other stuff sitting around. Thought that was just cool as hell, man. You just don't ever see an old Challenger funny car like that. Who would have thunk that I would end up with a Cuda that color? Just a couple of years later. And to really piss you off, this is my little brother's shop. He's the one that flies helicopters. Yeah, he's nuts. This little gas can was sitting in the House of Color booth. That's the purple I have to put on the Cutlass that I'm building. That's on the rotisserie. You can see it in some of my videos. I'm doing that for my friend that lives down in Chicago. She wants it purple, so we're going to make it purple. It's a really cool purple. I dig it. Now there I go, derailing myself with my own tangent. I'll make a video eventually of my brother's stuff in his huge shop, his shop mall, and throw a bunch of the SEMA pictures up. That was really cool. I gotta thank my buddy for getting me in there. Anyway, this is what I gotta deal with. I got tons of snow, and it's just ugly out there. One of these days I got to get actually back out into the shop, get to work, get something done, and make some video for you fun. Because nobody likes somebody that talks all the time and doesn't actually do it. Now, got to work on this, get it running, then I can go out and scare myself in a truck too. It's easy to scare me these days. I'm old and decrepit, short and fat. It's just wonderful. See you guys later.